Super interesting topic I have seen in the questions, okay, for Annie and for Phoebe. Why is it that I talk about Phoebe saying, she was a little bit too aggressive, not something that I was looking to keep? Thank you for closing that. While Annie, we're breeding for her own babies, and she's arguably more of a dragon than Phoebe is. And would I consider Annie being like a bad-minded mare? And if so, why would I breed a bad-minded mare? So in my opinion, I'm not gonna call her bad-minded on the fact that she's grumpy at the end of her pregnancy and a territorial mama. Okay, the fact that she is protective of her baby isn't a bad trait necessarily. And even though she wasn't the most loving mare, I was still able to put her in the cross ties. I was still able to milk her, was still able to bathe her, all the things. She would just have kind of like an ugly face about it. Whereas prior to foaling, Phoebe was actually, kicking out sometimes at people, would not let me milk her, would not let me really touch her in the hind end. Now, Phoebe has ended up being a lot nicer post-foaling than Annie is, which I don't even think Annie's nearly as bad with Huckleberry as she was with Johnny. But for those who haven't been around for a long time and don't know Annie as my riding horse, as a mare that I raised, she is the horse I put beginners on. She is the horse I trust a child to be on. She is the horse that I would say is arguably one of the best minded in the barn. She just has RMF, resting mare face, like with her ears and whatnot, and is crabby at the end of her pregnancy, which again, I don't think we can really hold against her. Like, I broke her out myself as a 2-year-old. I am the one that put all the buttons on her for the first couple years of her, life being a show horse. I actually showed her successfully before ever taking her to a trainer. I personally think she's extremely trainable. Prior to her EPM, very, very talented, and she has just all these qualities that I think are fantastic to pass along to foals. I arguably think she's one of the best minded that we have. So just kind of wanted to say that because I feel like a lot of people come in for foaling season and they saw kind of like her worst, whereas it's really her worst. And she has so many really amazing qualities. Like, as a 2-year-old, I was hauling her around by myself, as a college kid, was taking her to shows just to ride around, was taking her on trail rides and nothing but a smooth snaffle, like all these things, and she just takes everything in stride. Doesn't really get fazed by much, doesn't really get spooked by much. So I just couldn't really say a whole lot more good things about her other than she gets a little cranky when she's super pregnant, and she's a very territorial mama, which we have had way worse than her over the years. So yeah, if you're looking for an Annie hater, you ain't gonna find it here. I am an Annie stan for life, and I'm obsessed with this little baby she has.